adverse effects, specifically peripheral neuropathy and hepatotoxicity. So this is just to recall to you that the principles of pharmacogenomics, which were lectured to you. Remember, there's a recorded lecture from first sem sa pharmacogenomics. So aside from being used as part of the combination therapy, isoniazid can also be used in prophylaxis in patients who were people who had close contacts to patients with active TB. Pero in our local setting kasi, dito kasi parang since this is in the US, yung bilibro natin, di ba? Hindi naman kasi ganun ka-common yung TB doon. So pagka may exposure ka, nagbibigay ng prophylactic treatment. Pero tayo sa Pilipinas, lahat naman tayo exposed. Lakad ka lang dyan, mag-commute ka lang. So, pwedeng expose ka na. So parang lahat tayo, mas mataas for example yung mga thresholds natin in the Philippines. So, we just want to remind you, when you make your case discussions, you use our local guidelines and recommendations. Kasi iba yung recommendations sa ibang bansa. And for example, yung thresholds for diagnosis are also lower there compared sa atin. Okay? So what would be the important adverse effects associated with isoniazid? So tandaan nyo, yung acronym ng isoniazid is INH. So INH, isoniazid injures neurons and hepatocytes. Yun yung kanyang primary problem. So sa neurotoxicity, this is mostly peripheral. So in therapeutic doses, it can cause peripheral neuritis, restlessness, muscle twitching. This is preventable with pyridoxine supplementation. So part of the treatment that if you are enrolled in the TB Docs program, would be part of this the vitamin B6 as well. And then the hepatotoxicity it causes direct hepatotoxicity. So it can elevate liver enzymes, cause jaundice and hepatitis. The other hepatotoxicity, this one kasi yung is variable, yung position ng isoniazid at rifampicin. Pero ang important is that the most hepatotoxic among these is pyrazidamide, as we've already mentioned earlier. So this table just shows you the type of hepatotoxicity involved among the 4 drugs. So ethambutol, hindi siya hepatotoxic. While for iba, so pag pyrazidamide, it's more dose-dependent, hepatocellular injury, pag rifampicin naman, pwedeng cholestatic, meaning there's obstruction, or mixed hepatotoxicity, and then idiosyncratic for isoniazid. So, ito naman acute overdose usually occurs in accidental ingestion or excessive ingestion of the drug. This can happen, or in most cases, nangyayari dito is when a parent or guardian is taking anti-TB drugs, tapos accidentally na-ingest ng children yung medications niya. So, the most important manifestation is actually seizures for isoniazid overdose. So, this is due to the inhibition ng or reduction ng pyridoxal 5-phosphate, which is the active form of vitamin B6. So, since it is a cofactor of glutamic acid, is a decarboxylase, which is important for GABA synthesis or gamma aminobutyric acid. So we know that GABA is the primary inhibitory neurotransmitter in the central nervous system. So if you reduce its levels, ang magiging ibabaw na effect would be the excitatory neurotransmitters. And then secondarily, inhibition ng hepatic conversion of lactate to pyruvate can exacerbate the lactic acidosis from seizures. While for chronic toxicity, peripheral neuritis can occur. So in the treatment of acute overdose and may seizure of patient, the treatment would actually be first, of course, giving benzodiazepines to ablate the seizure, but it does not address the underlying cause. So, important to replacement or supplementation with pyridoxine to reverse the underlying cause of the seizures. If ingestion occurs within 1 to 2 hours, sometimes up until 4 hours, which is the usual gastric emptying time, then activated charcoal can still be given in order to reduce absorption of the drug. And of course, supportive care for the patient. What would be the important drug interactions naman? Isoniazid can inhibit the metabolism of certain drugs like carbamazepine, phenytoin, and warfarin. So carbamazepine and phenytoin, you will encounter these drugs later in the semester as your anti-seizure, as part of your anti-seizure drugs. And then warfarin, we already discussed before, this is an anticoagulant. The other main adverse effect can be hemolysis in B6PD deficient patients and rare lupus-like syndrome. The next drug is rifampin. To some books, ang general class talaga is rifamycins. And then under that would be rifampicin or rifampin, and then other related drugs like rifampicin, rifabutin, and rifamycin. So, but in tuberculosis, the drug that is used is rifampicin. Okay. So we said already that this bactericidal and inhibits the DNA-dependent RNA polymerase. It is encoded by the RPOH. Resistance develops and it is used. So it is well absorbed orally, sabi nga natin, di ba? It acts both on the intracellular and extracellular organisms, undergoes enterohepatic cycling, and undergoes liver metabolism to red-orange colored metabolite. So, which can cause staining. So, lahat ng mga body fluids, from urine, perspiration, tears, breast milk, pwede magkaroon ng discoloration. So, dito, we can just reassure the patient. It is safe yung discoloration ng mga secretions. So again, it's part of combination therapy, although it can also be used for latent infections kung may isoniazid-resistant strains. It's also part of the drug combination along with dapsone in the management of leprosy. And it may also be used in the treatment of meningococcal carriers. So, in terms of adverse effects, we already mentioned the discoloration that can occur. So, it can stain contact lenses, clothes, of course. And then, the most common adverse effects will be light chain proteinuria and possible antibody responses. Other occasional adverse effects will be rashes, thrombocytopenia, nephritis. So, if ever nagkaroon ng kidney problem yung patient, ang ina-activate natin would be rifampicin. And then also hepatotoxicity. Intermittent dosing can cause flu-like syndrome and liver enzyme induction. So yung liver enzyme induction, ito yung important na drug interactions that can occur. So they strongly enhance the elimination of many drugs. And so, ano mangyayari dito? Pwede ma-reduce yung efficacy nitong mga drugs na ito. So, for example, if a patient is on anticonvulsants, kailangan i-monitor yung patient, baka hindi na mag-respond. So, you may need to shift some medications. Same for hormonal contraceptives. So, if a patient is on hormonal contraceptives, they may need to add another method of family planning. What about the other rifamycins? So yung rifabutin, ang main characteristic niya is hindi siya ganun ka-potent in inducing liver enzyme metabolism. So in patients who are particularly AIDS patients who are taking protease inhibitors or efavirenz as part of their treatment, yung rifampicin is replaced with rifabutin. So So yun yung ginagawa. Pero in our country, actually, rifabutin is not available. So, and this actually, it doesn't have, currently based on the current recommendations natin sa PNH, sa first line treatment ng HIV, hindi na naman kasama yung mga protease inhibitors. So, it's not so much of a concern anymore. And then the other rifamycin, sulfasalazine, allows for once weekly dosing. And ito namang isa is actually is only used for traveler's diarrhea. And personally, I haven't seen this drug being dispensed or prescribed. Next drug is ethambutol. So it inhibits the arabinosil transferases, which is involved in arabinogalactan synthesis na component na cell wall. So, FEG mutations is the mechanism of resistance. It's well absorbed for it reaches most tissues, including the CNS, pero extracellular lang siya. And we need to reduce those in patients with renal impairment. So, again, it's used as in combination, and the primary adverse effects will be visual disturbances. Tandaan nyo na lang, E sa eyes, ethambutol. So, visual disturbance. So, anong visual na manifestation? Reduction ng visual acuity, central scotomas, and red-green color blindness. So, this is dose-dependent naman. And usually, pag discontinue na yung drug, bumabalik din sa normal yung patient. So, what would be ang tinatawag na pathology that is observed is optic neuritis or retrobulbar neuritis. So, you will observe or you encounter those terms to refer to the pathology ng ethambutol. So, yung adverse effects niya. Although your natawag nito, mga neuro-ophtha do not like the term neuritis kasi in most cases that they have observed with visual disturbances from ethambutol, hindi naman, pang-itis kasi di ba inflammation. Pero when they look at the optic nerve, hindi naman daw siya inflamed. So they prefer the term neuropathy rather than neuritis kasi hindi naman daw siya inflamed. But at any rate, what's important is that you know yung target na adverse effects. Okay? So aside from visual, other adverse effects would be constitutional, so headache, it could be subconfusion, hyperuricemia can occur, and also peripheral neuritis. So, yung peripheral neuritis, even, ano ba yung previous drug kanina, may peripheral neuritis din? Isoniazid. So, both these drugs can cause peripheral neuritis. Yung hyperuricemia naman, ethambutol and pyrazinamide can also cause hyperuricemia. So, yung pyrazinamide, sabi ng ating kanina, so ito yung sinasabi ko, static siya dito sa Katzum, di ba? Pero in the, for the rest of the world, bakit niya inaano? Sa Katzum kasi siya, pero clinically, in the context nga ng TB, it is silent. So, pero the specific mechanism of action is unclear. It is converted to pyrazinoic acid and then to the other metabolite, pero yung specific mechanism na yun is unclear. So, ito, sinasabi lang dito na ang bottom line natin is considered suicidal siya in the context of TB treatment. Kasi yung location nga ng action niya is doon sa intracellular. Tapos yung activation niya is dependent on the low pH ng macrophages. So, pyrazinamide is well absorbed orally, penetrates most tissues. This is how it's metabolized. So, from pyrazinoic acid and then to 5-hydroxypyrazinoic acid. So, this conversion generates your reactant oxygen species, which is the one that causes the hepatotoxicity. So again, this is the most hepatotoxic among the first-line agents. Yeah, so other major adverse effects aside from hepatotoxicity would be hyperuricemia, myalgia or maculopapular rash, porphyria. Yung porphyria, di ba, this is your precursors for heme synthesis. So, again, mechanism is not sure. Pwedeng, sabi nila, nag-increase yung synthesis or na-inhibit yung conversion. They can inhibit the enzyme that converts your porphyrins to heme. So, kaya nagkakaroon ng porphyria yung patient. For photosensitivity naman, diba, this is when the sun-exposed areas nagkakaroon ng desquamation and other lesions sa sun-exposed areas. Now, what are the other alternative drugs? There are quinolones. So this was lectured to you before, diba? So these drugs inhibit topoisomerase 2 and 4. So anong target niya? Cell wall, protein synthesis, nucleic acid, or folic acid synthesis? Sa nucleic acid, diba? So fluoroquinolones are inhibitors of nucleic acid synthesis. So just recall the characteristics of quinolones when you have your exam. Yung quinolone, we have a shifting pala this Friday, sabi ko sa inyo. So yung schedule natin, kasi binigyan nga tayo kasi ng specific days for shifting exams. So dati, di ba sabi ko baka every other tayo. Kaya lang, based on the schedule naman, wala naman tayong ibang makakatapat na subject pag Friday. Although sabihin nyo, kung baka mamaya release yung ibang subject pala. Pero as far as I know, wala. Pero kasi yung first year, yung room kasi na allowed sa atin for big rooms, yung first year, meron silang yung IPD. So meron silang exam ng Friday before the major exams. So yun, hindi tayo makakapag-shifting kapag Friday before the major exam. So gagawin na lang natin yung dapat na topic for that, shifting na lang natin the Friday after the major exam. So yun, wala tayong kasabay. So kahit natapos na yung major exam, parang ulitin lang na, para lang may shifting kayo for that topic. Kasi sayang yung din. So naaral yun na siya, tapos shifting natin siya. So mas lubukas po kayo na yun na may shifting kaysa walang shifting. Para mas madami yung grades nyo. So, yun lang yung mangyayari. So, mangyayari, mawawalan tayo ng final na shifting. Diba? Kasi yung Friday na, diba, yung Friday, usually, diba, meron tayo. Tapos, yung Friday na bago ng finals, yung IPD kukuha nun. So, yung Friday na yun, wala tayong shifting. So, wala tayong shifting dun sa second to the last topic. Okay. Yeah. So, other alternative drugs, the linezolid, you often use with bedaquiline in your predicament, which are other second-line drugs. Linezolid, saan to? Anong target niya? Ay, sino nag-lecture nito ng linezolid? Linezolid, sa protein synthesis inhibitor sila. So, ano sila? Ano bang protein synthesis ng linezolid? Static or cidal? Ano, shifting na kayo, di ba? Pag linezolid, kapataan nyo, ang protein synthesis inhibitors, dalawa lang ang cidal doon. So, lahat sila static. So, ang cidal sa protein synthesis inhibitors are aminoglycosides and streptogramins. And then the rest of the protein synthesis inhibitors are bacteriostatic. So ito yung mga adverse effects niya: neuropathy, headache, anemia, hepatotoxicity, QT prolongation. So So pag QT prolongation, anong iniisip natin na arrhythmia na pwede niya mag-cause? Pagka nagkaroon ng excessive prolongation, person that one of arrhythmia. So, lagi nyo tatandaan, pag nakita nyo na yung QT prolongation, person that one arrhythmia yung list. So this could be problematic if the patient already has prolonged QT or is given other drugs which can also prolong the QT interval. Yes. Other alternative drugs, so your aminoglycosides, so streptomycin, amikacin, kanamycin. So, similar activity and side effects with capreomycin. So, anong side effects ng aminoglycosides na tatandaan natin? Dapat. So, ang common sa kanya would be nephrotoxicity and ototoxicity. So, pag ototoxicity, pwede magkaroon ng problems with, pwedeng vestibular, pwedeng auditory siya. So, loss of hearing, kung maalala kung high frequency or low frequency. And then, problems with balance. And then, you also have ethionamide, which is a congener of isoniazid, but cross-resistance occurs only with the INH inhibition. So, the major drawback would be severe GI irritation and neurological effects at effective plasmatosis. And ito. So, other drugs like para-aminosalicylic acid, which inhibits your folate metabolism. So, pag inhibitors ng folate metabolism, ano siyang dalawang group yan, di ba? You have the sulfa drugs, like your sulfonamides, and you have the yung mga the hydrofolate reductase inhibitors, like your pyrimethamine and your trimethoprim. So, yung para-aminosalicylic acid, anong inhibit niya? Yung the hydroteroate synthetase or yung the hydrofolate reductase. Remember yung selection yun ng folic acid inhibitors, di ba, they are individually they are static, pero when they are given in combination, incidental siya because of the sequential inhibition ng enzyme system sa folic acid metabolism. So dalawang enzymes yan, your dihydroteroate synthetase and dihydrofolate reductase. So dito, anong inhibit niya sa folic acid metabolism? Sa tingin ninyo? Yung sulfonamides, di ba? Ano ba yung sulfonamides? These are para-aminobenzoic acid or PABA analogs. Diba? So, PABA analog, ang inhibit niya, yung dihydroteroate synthetase. So, actually, yung para-aminosalicylic acid is also a PABA analog. So, it also inhibits the dihydroteroate synthetase. So, similarly, like your sulfa drugs. So this drug is rarely used due to primary resistance and toxicity such as GI irritation, fatigue ulceration, hypersensitivity reactions, etc. And then the other drugs that are of limited use are capreomycin and cyclosporine. So capreomycin similar siya sa aminoglycosides, and yung cyclosporine, so it inhibits the D-alanine ligase, so which forms the D-alanine peptide for cross-linking. So yung like siya yung nagkakapit, di ba? Anong antibiotic na discuss last time, may similar target dito? Sa D-alanine din siya for peptide, polypeptide na elongation. Peptide glycan elongation ba? Sa cell wall synthesis inhibitors, vancomycin. Pero hindi siya identical but similar in terms of the target kasi doon siya sa may D-alanine terminal. Doon nag-act yung vancomycin. So, pinaprevent niya yung elongation, di ba? Sa vancomycin. So, ito naman, so, binablock niya yung yung pag-add ulit, yung ligase na enzyme. Okay, so it causes, however, it causes peripheral neuropathy and CNS dysfunction. What about the different regimens? So itong mga slides na to, siguro, I won't go so much into the different regimen kasi iba nga sa US, iba dito sa atin. Pero in principle, yung combination therapy involves two phases, the intensive phase and the continuation phase. So the intensive phase usually lasts around 2 months and ginagamit yung apat na first line drugs. Isoniazid, rifampicin, ethambutol, pyrazinamide. So pag tingnan niyo yung mga references, usually may letter na ginagamit. So pag yung isoniazid, yung H, di ba? INH siya as acronym niya, pero pag combination siya, yung isoniazid is H, tapos yung rifampicin R, Z yung pyrazinamide, tsaka E yung ethambutol. So, usually nakikita niyo 2-HRZE as the tapos yung yung continuation or maintenance phase naman is 4-HR. So, isoniazid and rifampicin. So, ito lang yung hindi natin i-treatment kasi iba-iba talaga yung treatment. So, usually intensive phase na 2 months, post-continuation phase 2 to 4 months. So, anong differences ba ng goals sa intensive phase at continuation phase? So, the primary goal ng intensive phase would be to rapidly reduce the bacterial load, prevent drug resistance, provide symptomatic relief, and reduce the tubercular pathology. While pagka-continuation phase naman, ang goal dito is to complete the treatment by eliminating the persistent bacteria. So, and since you are already reducing the drug to two drugs na lang, you are already reducing the toxicity. Okay? So, these are the key differences between the intensive and the continuation phase in terms of the duration, the number of drugs, the primary goal and the focus. Okay? So please take note of the characteristics and the differences nitong dalawang phases na ito. Skip ko na itong part na ito. So, in our local setting, you can use these references. So, you can download the manual of procedures from UH and the clinical practice guidelines for the diagnosis and treatment of tuberculosis. There's a 2016 version and a 2021 version. So, we look at the latest na lang in 2021. So, you can use this as reference for your case presentations. So, this is just to show you. So, makikita niyo, pag itong next slides are from the UH manual of procedures. So, yung may mga kulay yellow, pag in-download nyo siya. Just to show you, hindi ko naman tatanungin sa eksakto. So, basta kapag pinapakita ko lang sa inyo yung regimen, tapos dun sa mas detailed actually itong manual of procedures kasi it's a manual. So, pagka may ganito, ito yung gagawin, ito yung next, etc. Kung nakita nyo yung DS, is being drug sensitive tuberculosis. So these are the primary treatments and then the criteria for eligibility. So this is for pulmonary and extrapulmonary except for CNS bone and joint. Tapos ito naman yung extrapulmonary ng CNS bone and joint. So, but this is the criteria on how they are diagnosed. This is the dosing, etc. And then ito yung mini-mention ko about the adverse effects. So the manual also gives instructions on what you will do if your patient experiences adverse effects. And this is divided into major, minor, and major. So pagka minor, pwede reassure lang for the discoloration of the urine. Pero for example, nagkaroon ng arthralgia or hyperuricemia, pwede magbigay ng NSAIDs. fever, antipyretics. Pero for the major adverse effects, what you'll see na stop na yung anti-TB. And then refer to the specialist. So pagka nagkaroon ng jaundice, impairment ng visual acuity, albuminuria, etc. So you discontinue the medication and then you refer for appropriate treatment. So this is the last part for the anti-TB drugs. For the other mycobacterial organisms, for leprosy, so the primary drug, the first line drug would be Dapsone, which is the sulfone. So sabi na natin, pag sulfa drugs, they inhibit folic acid synthesis, particularly because, since they are PAPA analogs. So ano yung enzyme ulit ang inhibit niya? Dihydroteroate synthetase. So it's given in combination with rifampicin and clofazimine. So yung clofazimine, nandiyan naman siya in the later slides. So yung kanyang mechanism of action. So sulfones, so these are the kinetic properties. And then adverse effects of irritation. So pagka may sulfate drugs, usually they are they have similar adverse effects. May hemoglobinuria, hemolysis in B6PU deficient patients. And it's used as an alternative, itong Dapsone for pneumocystis jirovecii. Pero ano ba ang primary treatment? So since alternative to, ano ba ang primary treatment natin for pneumocystis jirovecii pneumonia? Na-lecture na yan ni Dr. Rivera. Sulfa drug din siya. Yung cotrimoxazole, yung trimethoprim, sulfamethoxazole. Yeah. And then these are the other combination treatments. So Dapsone plus rifampicin with clofazimine. Yung clofazimine, this interacts with DNA to prevent interfere with the inner replication and transcription ng mycobacterial membrane. So, adverse effect will be GI irritation and skin discoloration. And lastly, you have the treatment for non-tuberculous bacteria. So, usually, ang pinaka-common dito would be Mycobacterium avium complex. Although there are also other organisms or strains involved. So for Mycobacterium avium complex, which is commonly seen in disseminated infection in AIDS, so it's usually a combination of macrolides, rifamycin, and ethambutol. So either with or without rifampicin. Then for the other non-tuberculous organisms, so ito lang yung mga combinations. So ethambutol, isoniazid, rifampicin, and then pwede rin ang casein, cephalosporin, stimulant, macrolides, and tetracyclines. So parang wala lang dito yung metronidazole. So basically, all other drugs can be used. And actually, ito yung mga treatment options depending on the mycobacteria. Pero hindi ko natatanungin yan. So, do you have any questions for the antimycobacterial drugs? So the rest of the slides are just, I got from the review books for board exam. So if you want to, ang goal natin dito is pumunta sa words, di ba? Yung kadalasan naman, ito yung mga kasama sa tinatamo sa board exam. So you can review these parts. Okay? If any questions, let's have a 5-minute break before we go to your antiviral drugs.